In January 2011, Channel Enabler's CEO and founder, Braham Shnider, spoke with Brandon Sweeney, Vice President of the Americas Partner Organization at VMware. APO is responsible for partner sales, field execution enablement, and strategy for all VMware indirect channels across the Americas. These routes include many kinds of partners, including solution providers, OEMs, distributors, resellers, independent software vendors, hosters, service providers, and systems integrators and outsourcers, as well as all SMB mid-market sales. Brandon holds a BA in Government Economics from Bowdoin College and an MBA from the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern, with a focus on marketing and finance.
Good morning, Brandon, and thank you very much for the opportunity of joining Channel Enablers here today. As you know, we've put together a number of questions, so let's get started and let me ask you some of those questions. So the first question, Brandon, is what do you see as the biggest challenges facing channel partners in North America in 2011?
Well, great question, Brahman. It's great to be with you, so thank you for spending some time here. I tell you, the things that I think about when we get ready to really accelerate the business in 2011, if I were a channel partner, are really threefold. One, where am I going to make my bets in terms of those vendors, those manufacturers, those technologies that I'm really going to double down on? And how am I going to effectively enable my pre-sales, sales, and post-sales folks to be able to really articulate as well as deliver that solution to the joint end customer? And then the third piece, besides focusing on what your priorities are and also enabling and self-enabling your teams, is also, given the complexity in the ecosystem, as you talk about cloud computing, as you talk about desktop virtualization, as you talk about virtual infrastructure, there are a lot of complementary technologies that you need to be relevant and aware of. And again, trying to skill up around all those different technologies and where you place your bets will be a key determinant of your success as a partner, channel partner in 2011.
Okay, thank you very much, Brandon. And let's take this from a slightly different perspective. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing high-tech vendors such as VMware and all the others in North America, in the North American channel in 2011?
Yeah, it's another really good question that I certainly spend a lot of time thinking about, and we as a company think about. At the end of the day, 90% of our business is driven with our channel partners, so they are our sales force, and how do we continue to enable them? And from our perspective, you know, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of momentum in the virtualization space, and there's a long tail on that. But also we're starting to transition into cloud-based solutions, again, around desktop, around application development, and around overall virtual infrastructure. And how do we really figure out how we enable our partners, you know, again, our sales force, on both the pre-sales side and the post-sales side? We're doing some pretty neat things around what we call solution enablement toolkits, which really are trying to pull together all of that information that a partner would need to really understand the overall value proposition, the TCO or ROI, and then implementation tricks and tips. But it's really something we think about. Who are the partners that we need to really double down on, and how do we help those as we, again, as a company, go through a transformation going forward over the next few years?
All right, thank you very much, Brandon. Sort of moving towards more of a growth theme, but where do you see the channel growth coming from in North America over the next year?
So I'm pretty excited. There are just a ton of opportunities, I believe, in the overall virtualization space. I know that sounds somewhat self-serving, but if you look at a lot of the industry analysts and where they are seeing and projecting growth over the next 12 and 24 and 36 months, and you take the surveys they do with CIOs around relative buying intentions and who's really taking share, you know, we're very fortunate to continue to be top of the list or top three in terms of those vendors that continue to aggregate more wallet share and become more strategic to the IT as well as a line of business folks in the end user customer. So again, I continue to think there's a ton of opportunity in that segment around virtualization and by extension cloud computing. I also think as we see some maturity start to hit the market around virtualization solutions and people get more and more comfortable moving out of just pure test and dev into tier one applications into the line of business virtualization, There's a ton of opportunity around services, and some of that is around the implementation side, but it's also around the strategic plan to implement virtual infrastructure and really integrate that with your SaaS offerings, with your PaaS offerings, or with your infrastructure as a service offerings. So I think there's a ton of opportunity both on implementation, but also on strategic planning on how to deploy and lead a business towards first a private cloud, and then ultimately position those customers who want to take advantage of hybrid or public clouds. And again, I think there's a lot of opportunity there for the next 24 months.
Yeah, I certainly would agree with you, Brandon, and there's been a lot of evidence, to suggest that that's probably happening quicker than people expected. In what areas is vendor investment required in North America to develop and grow the channel? So, is your channel investment focus changing going into 2011 from 2010?
Again, you picked me at a great time here in January as we're really trying to lock down our plans for the year and get ready for our partner exchange event in February, where we really will roll out a lot of our overall planning for the year. You're absolutely right. We'll continue to focus on driving competencies and specializations across our channel base, but you'll also see us begin to add to our, what I'll call our breadth enablement, with some real focus depth enablement around helping a number of our partners really go deep around the use cases that our customers want. So again, it really is that balancing act that we've got a wonderful transactional business, and again, our partners drive all of that opportunity for us. And again, very big deals around virtualization, but we're also starting to evolve into other use cases around leveraging our technology for our customers' benefit. And that's an area where you'll continue to see us really invest in building out better cadence with our field SEs and our partners, in building out and extending our solution enablement toolkits to include tier one virtualization and also other use cases around desktop or other examples. And then you'll also see us continue to really want to work closely with a lot of our ecosystem partners to put together validated solution sets and solution stacks that really give our partners the confidence to talk about this entire solution to our customers, because we've already done a lot of the pre-work on the front end to make sure that we have these certified and validated platforms for them to sell to their end customers.
You've already spoken about cloud and cloud computing and obviously clearly virtualization being your core business, but this is a question we've asked all the other participants here, and there's some other things you'd like to add, and that is we hear a lot about, the move to cloud and, computing on demand and all the various naming conventions that have been applied. How do you think these will affect the North American channel in 2011?
It's a really good question. I think, there's a lot of debate on kind of the rate and pace of how quickly you'll see cloud adoption occur. But if you really break it down into first step really is virtualizing your infrastructure, and two then is building out your own private cloud, I think you'll see 2011 be much more focused around private cloud adoption. But I also believe you'll see a lot of folks who are starting to look at leveraging public clouds for certain applications. And again, I do believe that all of our partners need to be thinking about, well, what is the percent of my business that is really focused around resell, around licenses? What is the percent of my business that is focused around general services? And then what do I believe is really going to become the monthly recurring revenue stream of my business? And as we sit down with our partners, they come into our executive briefing center to talk about 12 and 24-month strategy. Everyone to a person is really trying to figure out where on that spectrum they fit and how do they build out that capability. Are they going to build out and make that CapEx investment themselves to deliver a managed service offering? Will they white label or leverage some other service provider's offering to their benefit? And again, put a lot of focus on taking the complexity of that solution out of the equation for their end customer, hence where they're going to drive value. There's a lot of discussion about where they want to each play on that spectrum. And my job and our job at VMware, I think, is hopefully a very strategic vendor and partner to these channel partners, is to really help them think through and give them great clarity as to where we're headed and how we are going to help them, depending on what types of decisions they make, really better enable and offer those solutions out to their end customers.
Okay, well, Thank you very much, Brandon. I've just got one last question that I'd like to ask, and that is, you've talked about a lot of change in 2011, and you've used the word enablement and self-enablement and a number of different, terms like that. I guess the final question I'd like to ask is what are you doing to further develop your team, so this is specifically your channel account managers, to adapt to all the changes that you've spoken about?
Yeah, one of the key tenets for us is if we're going to continue, we hope to earn the right to really be a key advisor to our top partners, and again, just not a vendor with a line card and a program, we want to make sure that my PBMs, our PBMs, partner business managers, can really have more of a strategic discussion around where a vendor firm a partner firm wants to take their business and how can we help. So one of the things we did last year, and we're starting to see the fruits of this, is we actually invested with a couple firms to bring them in to really train our PBMs on how to identify opportunities within our partner firms and also how to build business cases to help partners think about their business right down to the GP level of making certain investments and certain bets. So again, we're trying to create a standard framework. We work with some of our larger partners, and as we perfect that, we'll bring that downstream to a broader set of our key selling partners. But it really is investing in some online training. It's investing in a framework, a very standard and industry-wide accepted framework on how to work and coach partners, and also really asking our partner business managers to put together business plans in conjunction with our partners that really talk about not just, hey, what are we going to do for this quarter, but what are we going to try to do over the next 3 or 4 quarters, and where do we want to be in a future state in the next 12 to 24 months. So again, we're trying to be much more methodical as we get bigger and also really try to invest in our teams, because at the end of the day, the folks who best represent us to our partners are our partners' business managers, and we've got to continue to work on their leadership, as well as their professional development. And again, I think that will reflect well on our brand and also hopefully be valued by our partners out in the field.
Okay, Brandon, that's very interesting. Thank you very much for being involved in this interview, and we wish you all the best for 2011. Thank you very much.
Well, great. Thank you very much as well. It's great to spend time with you, and I look forward to, again, helping in any way I can. Thanks again, and best to you.